Imagine waking up tomorrow and discovering that your entire life is built around a rule created more than 200 years ago. You wake up, go to work, work for 8 hours, come home, sleep, and repeat. But have you ever stopped and wondered why exactly 8 hours? Why not 6? Why not 10? And why not 12? Who decided that one third of our day should be spent working? The answer takes us back to a time when workers had almost no rights. Factories ran day and night, and 16-hour workdays were completely normal. And surprisingly, the man who started this revolution was not a worker, he was a factory owner. To understand where the 8-hour workday came from, we need to go back to the Industrial Revolution. Factories were changing the world. Machines could produce goods faster than ever before. Cities were growing. Businesses were booming. But there was a catch. Factory owners wanted maximum production. And the easiest way to get more production was simple: make people work longer, much longer. 12-hour shifts were common. 14-hour shifts were not unusual. And some workers spent 16 hours a day inside factories. Just imagine that you leave home before sunrise, you return after sunset, you barely see your family, and you barely have time to rest. And then you do it all again the next day. For millions of workers, that was not an exception, it was normal life. There were no weekends, no paid leaves, no modern labor laws, and in many places, even children worked long hours. For many people, life became a loop: work, sleep, work again. Then came a man named Robert Owen. Owen was a factory owner in Wales. But unlike many business owners of his time, he noticed something interesting. Exhausted workers were not necessarily productive workers. Tired people made more mistakes, accidents happened more often, and the quality of their work suffered. So Owen proposed an idea, a simple idea, but one that sounded completely crazy at the time. He summarized it in a famous slogan: 8 hours labor, 8 hours recreation, 8 hours rest. Think about that for a second. Today it sounds perfectly reasonable. Back then, it sounded revolutionary. Most factory owners believed workers should work as much as possible. The longer the shift, the more profit they expected to make. So when Owen suggested limiting work hours to 8 hours, many people laughed at him. Others ignored him completely. But workers paid attention because for the first time, someone powerful was saying what they had been thinking for years. Maybe life shouldn't be only about work. Over the next few decades, the idea slowly spread. Workers across Europe and North America started demanding shorter work days. Trade unions were formed. Protests became more common. And one demand kept appearing again and again: the 8-hour workday. Workers were not asking to stop working. They were asking for limits, for balance, for time to actually live their lives. What started as one man's idea slowly became a movement, and eventually, that movement became impossible to ignore. Then came one of the biggest turning points: Chicago in 1886. Hundreds of thousands of workers joined strikes demanding an 8-hour workday. Factories shut down. Crowds were filled the streets. Newspapers covered that story. The movement had become national news. Eventually, tensions exploded during an event known as Haymarket Affair. The details are still debated today. But one thing became clear: the fight for the 8-hour workday was not going away. Governments noticed, businesses noticed, and the world noticed. And suddenly, everyone was asking the same question: how much work is too much work? At first, many business owners believed shorter workdays would hurt productivity. It seemed obvious. Less time working should mean less output, right? Not exactly. As researchers began studying productivity, they discovered something surprising. Human beings are not machines. The longer people work, the more tired they become, and the more tired they become, the more mistakes they make. The accidents increase, concentration drops, and efficiency falls. And beyond a certain point, working longer doesn't help. In some cases, it actually makes things worse. Slowly, attitudes started changing. The 8-hour workday was not just good for workers, it could also be good for businesses. Over time, countries around the world began adopting laws based on the 8-hour principle. Not all at once, not everywhere, but gradually. The idea spread, and eventually, what once sounded radical became normal. Today, billions of people organize their lives around the 8-hour workday, which brings us to the strangest part of the story. Because the 8-hour workday was designed for a completely different world, a world of factories, steam engines, assembly lines. It wasn't designed for laptops, emails, video calls, or remote work, or even artificial intelligence. Yet here we are, still following a system created more than a century ago. Even though the nature of work has changed dramatically, which raises an interesting question. If humans invented the 8-hour workday once, could we reinvent it again? The next time you start your workday, remember this: 8 hours work isn't a law of nature. It isn't something that has always existed. It was an idea proposed by one factory owner, an idea fought for by millions of workers, and an idea that eventually reshaped modern world. More than 200 years later, that decision still influences how billions of people spend their day, and it reminds us of something fascinating. Many of the rules we live by are not permanent. They are simple decisions made by people who came before us, and one day they may change again.